Hey guys, what's up, Zyphon here, and welcome to episode 6 of my Warframe Beginners Guide for 2024 and 2025. The first thing that we're going to do today is the War Within quest, so just go ahead and put on a loadout that you like and is pretty powerful. Also, I went ahead and I've progressed to Master Rank 6. Now, the Master Rank 6 test is simply just a shooting test where you got to shoot this little ball, and then the ball is going to link to another ball. You got to shoot that ball, and you need to do that for 3 rounds, then you've completed the test. But with the MR6 test out of the way, we're going to go ahead and start the War Within quest. Now, this is another very story-heavy quest in Warframe, so I'm only going to include the parts that I think you might struggle with. You got to come to your codex to start it. Just go ahead, hit it, press begin, and it's probably going to play a cutscene. So eventually you're going to come to this mission where you spawn in your Archwing. And what we have to do here is we need to hide behind this ship to avoid some lasers. So if you look, you can see where the laser originates from. You just want to go to the opposite side and just stay beside the ship, right? So that one came from the right, so I stay on the left. This one's coming from the bottom, so I'm going to stay at the top. And you just want to go at the pace of the spaceship. If you just keep on going through the mission as normal, you're eventually going to get to this exit, and at this exit it's going to say yo, you're not going to be able to go back and change your loadout, so are you sure you want to enter into this base? It says boarding the KUVA fortress will restrict mission access, commit, and you just want to go ahead and press yes. So this is just a story quest. You're going to be locked into it until you complete it. So this is the KUVA Fortress tile set. Trust me when I tell you, this isn't the best designed tile set in the game. There's a lot of really cramped buildings and stuff like that, which are kind of just a pain in the butt to navigate. But some of the areas are quite open, this one isn't too bad. Whenever you get into this room, you're going to come across this little console here, which needs 3 keys. So these keys are going to be marked. You just want to go ahead and pick them up, then take them back to the console. So here's the first one. I pick it up. I take it over, I put it in, there's one right beside it, go ahead put that one in too, and then the final one is all the way over here. There's our third one, jump back over to the console again, put that in the final slot, then head over to the elevator, kill the enemies that are on the elevator with your Xoris, hopefully you've brought that on, and then just go ahead press this button to start the elevator down the way. Eventually you're going to come to this big dark room. This is going to trigger a bunch of story stuff, so again, if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead, pause the video now, play the quest yourself, then come back to the video, because we are going to talk about stuff that comes from this quest after this point. So, you might as well do this now if you want to get out of the way spoiler-free. So eventually you're going to come to this part of the quest where you're playing as the kid, and as you can see, your powers don't work. And because your powers don't work, Ordis is going to be very mad at you, and he's going to try to kick you out of the ship. You got to get to the navigation in time, so you just got to wait for the air to stop knocking you over, then you can run to the front of the ship. You just got to stand still, wait for it, and here we go, we're at the exit. So eventually you get to this walking simulator bit. You got to make your way up this mountain and into this cave. You're going to get into this room that has the icicles. Just go ahead and use your, I don't even know what to call it, your crap operator blast, I guess. That's going to make all the ice fall and this here thing rise. Now we got to come over to this side, and we have to shoot the big golden ball with our crap operator blast. And yeah, we're going to get a sore head, and then we're going to fall down a big hole. Okay, so you're going to get to this stage where there's a bad boy that's digging his way underground. We want to avoid the bad boy, because if we stand in the bones and he catches us, well, we're going to be dead. So, if you look to the left, there is a cave. You can run platform to platform to platform, but we're going to do it the pro gamer way, and we're just going to go ahead, run to this cave on the left, and he's not going to be able to get us, right? We go through this tiny little cave. Here we go. Here we go. Now we're going to get to this part. And as you can see, he's still there. We're going to get to this rock over here. While we're on this rock, he can't get us. Now we're going to look for the next platform. It's over there. We're going to sprint over to this next platform. Easy peasy. Then the next platform right in front of us. We sprint over to it. Just make sure that he's not in your way. Otherwise, he's going to get you. And now we're going to run to this one over here. Now stand on the edge of this rock right here. and make sure that he gets as far away as possible, because if I try to sprint over now, like, I'm just totally dead. So he's just passing me here, and whenever he gets like as far away as possible, so like to there, I guess. Okay, so he's really far away now. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sprint over to this next rock, and there we go. So he's in front of me. I'm just gonna wait, and whenever we get to this little area here, we're pretty much done with this stage. So just watch and watch and watch, and make sure he gets as far away as possible. I'm feeling like risking it now. So here we go. I made it. I'm alive. So after we've made it over, you can see that our operator is looking a little bit more healthy right now. His leg isn't broken anymore. We can actually do a cool dash. So you have to press your crouch button, then your spacebar. So the game's literally showing you, if you hold down your crouch button and then you do a spacebar, you do a sling. Like, get familiar with this, because you're going to be incorporating this into your sort of like movement cycle within Warframe gameplay. So just go ahead, crouch, aim at the little stairs over there, do your spacebar, and you're going to dash over the gap. And now this is going to become a lot easier. So just aim at the rock that you want to go to, crouch, spacebar, aim at the next rock, crouch, spacebar. I maybe overshot that a little bit, whoops. You can actually aim like in the air, so like at the roof above where you want to go, so like this, and then you can look down again and dash to the platform again. So here you can like chain all your dashes together, so just watch. So dash, 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 and then you're at the end. But remember, you have to be holding down your left shift button to be able to do that dash like that, and then it's just a matter of tapping spacebar. You can see the icicle, and there's the scary guy. Crouch, spacebar, through the wall. So now we've got void mode. Whenever we hold down shift, we actually go invisible now. This is going to drain your energy. So if you see in the bottom right hand corner, your energy is being drained. Whenever mine's hit 0, I'm no longer invisible. Now this is important because your dash also drains energy. You've got enough energy right now to do 3 dashes, but if you stay invisible for too long, well, you're not going to have enough energy to do the 3 dashes, right? So I recommend just tapping shift and then spacebar and then doing it like that. So here we go. We're just going to go ahead and go a big distance here. So boom, boom, boom. And you can see that we ended up on a rock there that was kind of like falling. And it was just a matter of me doing one more dash, and then we reached the exit. Now here's another thing. The longer you hold down spacebar, the longer your sling is going to take you. So just keep that in mind as well. You don't necessarily have to tap it. You can just hold it. But we have to dash through this wall again to continue the quest. So again, you're going to get to this like karma system thing. Pick whatever sounds the coolest to you. The choice doesn't matter. So now we get to this part where we have to take over the worm that's in the ground. So we just go ahead, dash into him, and then press 5 on your keyboard, and now you've took control over him. Now we press left shift to go underground. I'm just realizing this game has some weird obsession with like turning the player into a worm. This is the second time where the game lets us play as a worm in the Duviri Paradox quests and now here. But whenever we go through this little area, you get like a loading screen, and it's just a matter of climbing the mountain again, walking. Instead of walking, just use your void sling. You get to the icicles, and I think we have to dash through these ones. Yeah, we got to dash through them. You fall on this little platform. I'm gonna wait for my energy to regen again, and then I'm gonna go ahead and dash up. And unfortunately, this here bit has like an invisible wall, so we can't just dash up and... yeah, well, I guess we can. I dashed above the invisible wall, okay. But yeah, we want to get to this door, and yeah. So now we're back in the ship, and all we got to do is just, you know, try our abilities and show them off to Ortis. So eventually you're going to make your way into this area with the worm lady, and we have to kill the KUVA guys. So you want to go into your operator by pressing 5 to come out of your Warframe, and then you just want to go ahead and dash into the fat guys. Then what you want to do after you kill one of the fat guys is you want to go ahead, go into your operator again, and shoot these little braids. It's going to be a little bit slow to begin with because like you have to wait for your operator energy to regen. Then after you've destroyed 2, the fat guy's going to come in again. Operator, dash into him, Xoris, throw, boom, dash into him, Xoris, throw. Well, I guess he already had an electric proc on him, so he died anyway. Braids again. And now you want to kill the final fat guys. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Fat guy number 1, dead to the Xoris. Fat guy number 2, dead to the Xoris. Fat guy number 3, dead to the Xoris already. I didn't even have to throw it for a third time. Operator, shoot the braid. Easy peasy. Another one. Easy. Ah, I'm out of energy. Break the braid. Easy peasy. One more time. One more time. Easy. Now we get knocked over, and the lady's mad. But guess what? Whenever she starts to shoot or something, we just go ahead and we dash into her. You see how she has this bubble around her? We wait for that to go down. Actually, I'm lying. We need to fight Teshin first. As you can see, he's going to try to fight us, but, you know, he traps your little operator guy, sends you back into your Warframe. But little does he know, we have the Xoris, so we're just going to keep on throwing it at him until he dies. Teshin's now defeated. Get wrecked, noob. Now the worm lady is going to start to shoot at us, and now we're going to be able to dash into her and steal her staff. If she would stop talking. Okay, so there she goes. Dash into her. Easy peasy. Staff is ours now. And once you've made your final choice, that's it. You've completed the quest. Now we have to climb the mountain again just to finish off the quest in its entirety. Get to this door, go ahead and zap it with your void beam. Aim for the next door as well. Try not to go into the roof like me. Now we're back to the golden ball. We want to go ahead and shoot it with our void beam as well. It's gonna spawn in some platforms for us. Just go ahead and aim above the platforms and then void sling to them. And then come to this door right here. This will eventually open up, and if you're like me, you'll go into the roof again. Then you come to this very pretty scene, and we gotta go talk to Teshin. After you speak to Teshin, you're fully completed the quest, I promise. Upon completion of the new war quest, you're gonna get this message from the Worm Queen. And she's going to be talking about KUVA liches. Now, KUVA liches are like a cool, like, nemesis system thing with inside Warframe. So basically what happens is you get your own unique bad guy who is going to have an element that is going to match that of the Warframe that you use to spawn him in. And he's also going to have a KUVA weapon of an already existing weapon in the game. So take, for example, the Heck, right? That is a Grineer shotgun. And because the KUVA liches are Grineer enemies, well, you can get a KUVA variant of the Heck. But we don't want to do that right now for the simple fact that whenever you spawn this enemy in, they're going to take control of one of the planets on your star chart. And because they have control over it, what's going to happen is if you play a mission on that planet, they're actually going to steal some of the resources that you get. So imagine this scenario. You're trying to build a new weapon, and you have a KUVA lich, and they are on Earth. And you need to get some neurodes. Now, you play on Earth, you get your neurodes, then you complete the mission, but then the KUVA lich steals your neurodes. To get those neurodes back off of the KUVA lich, you have to kill him, and that requires you to play Railjack. And that's okay, like, we're eventually going to do that, but it is going to be a while before we are strong enough to actually kill a KUVA lich ourselves. And it just takes a lot of grinding, so it's just not something that you want to be doing as, like, a newer player. So I'm going to show you how you can actually avoid spawning in a KUVA lich. So the KUVA lich enemy that you need to kill to trigger a KUVA lich to spawn is only going to spawn in Grineer missions. So I'm just going to go ahead and play Naga here because that's a node that I need to complete anyway here on Sedna. Okay, so whenever you're playing a Grineer mission and you see the KUVA Guardian speaking, there's going to be an enemy that's marked with this red symbol here. Now that is the Larvling enemy that you have to mercy kill with your powers on to spawn in a KUVA lich. So if I go ahead and kill all of the surrounding enemies, this is what my Larvling looks like right now. And as you can see, if I come up to them, it says KUVA Hind. And now if I was to hold down X and do a Mercy finisher, it would spawn in a KUVA lich that would drop the KUVA Hind weapon with electric damage on it because I'm playing as Vault. But you want to avoid doing this for now because you don't want the KUVA lich to spawn on planets where you might need to farm resources so you can increase your mastery and craft new weapons and stuff like that, you know? It just isn't worth it to do it right now. Don't get me wrong, KUVA weapons can be really, really, really good, but we have our sights set on better weapons that we can get by just not having to interact with the KUVA liches or Railjack. So we're going to try and get those before we even bother with, you know, getting the KUVA weapons and stuff like that. The next thing we want to do is we actually want to head over to Cetus on Earth. Go ahead and fast travel over to Konzu real quick. And then you want to head up the stairs over here. And you'll see one of those doors from the War Within quest. Go ahead, enter your operator, and you can walk on through. Talk to this guy, and he's just going to give you a random amp for your operator, which is going to allow you to deal more damage with your operator's left click. So this is our first amp. It's called the Moat Amp, and we're going to need it to complete an upcoming quest. So just go ahead and leave Cetus. We don't have to do anything else here unless you need to farm up your stand-in, of course. Now you want to go ahead, fast travel to your operator, press equipment, and then go ahead and equip the Moat Amp that we just got. You would think that they would auto-equip that for you, but unfortunately they don't. So a lot of people, they go and get the amp, they don't equip it, and then they do the next quest, and you're like, why am I dealing no damage? The next quest that we have to do is the Chains of Harrow quest, but before we go ahead with that, I'm going to talk about getting like more weapons and leveling our mastery just a little bit faster. In your dojo, you've got a bunch of different labs. So this right here is the Chemical Lab, and this sells the blueprints for Grineer weapons, as you can see. This is the Energy Lab, and this sells blueprints for Corpus weapons. This is the Bio Lab, and it sells blueprints for Infested weapons. And as you guys should know, if you've been following along with the guide, we have the Tenno Lab here, and that sells Tenno weapons. So if you remember, we crafted the Thibodeau, and that consumed our kunai and our bow weapon just to make that one melee weapon. The same thing can kind of happen here, where we've got the Sidon, right? Now the Sidon is going to consume the amphis that we have built in our inventory to craft this. So if you go ahead and you hover over, you know, what does it take to craft, it says that it needs detonite injectors, circuits, salvage, and the amphis. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that blueprint in my inventory. So that's going to be in my foundry now. It talks about having a detonite injector as a resource to craft the Sidon. So if we go ahead and we press replicate here, we can hover over the blueprint and see what it takes to craft, right? So it says it needs credits, it needs detonite ampule, control modules, salvage, and plastid. So that's quite a bit of resources. So I went ahead and I added that blueprint to my foundry as well. It's in your best interest to come in here and to like replicate all of these blueprints just to have them sitting in your foundry. So I'm going to make that my mission in today's episode to farm up enough credits to do this. You can come over to the Energy Lab here and we can pretty much do the exact same thing. So you can see the Jewel Sestra is in here. It requires Master Rank 7, so we can't pick up this blueprint right now. But if we go ahead and we craft another Sestra, we get the Field Drawn and we get the Forma, we can go ahead and we can craft the Jewel Sestra, and then of course we can level that to get the Mastery from it. So again, you want to go ahead and pick up the Field Drawn research. Just go ahead and replicate that blueprint so it goes into your foundry. Here in the Infested Lab, you want to go ahead and pick up the Mutagen Mass research. Just go ahead and replicate that. Then fortunately, there isn't anything like that in the Tenno Lab. All the Tenno stuff is pretty much just crafted with the likes of like Forma and stuff like that. You can see Forma and resources, etc. So amongst all of these labs, just go around and take a look at all of the weapons and then replicate the blueprints you can. So you can see I've got the Sidon research. If I hover over the Twin Croaker here, I can see that it's MR10 locked. So you can see the little symbol there. So I can't pick up that blueprint yet. The Keshag is MR7, so I can't get that yet. Nukegore is MR4, so might as well put that in my inventory. Mirlock's MR7. Womak is MR5, so we pick that up. Jack Katag is MR5, so let's pick that up as well. Jack Kassar is MR11. The regular Ignis, that's MR5, so let's pick that up. Ogris is MR9. Nux is MR7. Rattler's MR4, let's pick it up. Aken Brunt, that's MR3, that's quite cheap. Javlock is MR7. Ignis Reef is MR9. Can't get that yet. Grinlock is MR7. Argonac is MR7. And Buzzlock is MR11. Here in the Energy Lab, I can pick up the Cero. That's MR6, but I need to go and get more credits. So I'm going to go to my Orbiter. And then I'm going to play this Disruption mission at Leo Media just for a little bit, just so I can farm up some credits. I recommend putting this on public, actually, because if you do get into a public lobby and, you know, you guys kill the Demolist enemies faster, you're just going to get a lot more credits a lot quicker. So you might as well just play it on public. So I'm going to go ahead and farm this now to farm up a bunch of credits, and then I'm going to go back into the dojo and buy more stuff. Okay, so I'm just after completing 2 runs of Leo Media, and in the second run, I stayed for quite a while. I stayed for 12 rounds and I came out the other end with 715,000 credits. Now, some people, whenever you ask them, like, what should I do to get credits, they're going to recommend this here game mode called the Index. And the Index is a really good source of getting credits, but in my opinion, it's a very, very, very boring game mode. And after a while, you're going to get a distaste for it. I don't like recommending it because simply by playing Leo Media, you're going to be getting a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak, because you're going to be getting resources that you need, you're going to be getting mods that you need, you're going to get duplicate mods which you can then dissolve for endo and stuff like that. So as a newer player, I just recommend doing Leo Media because it sort of like fills out your inventory a little bit more, where if you're running Index, you're getting very specific mods which don't really matter that much, and you're simply just getting credits. And in my opinion, it's a lot less fun. So Leo Media is my recommendation for newer players over the Index. I'm coming back over to the Energy Lab, and I'm going to keep on buying like everything that I can that is MR6 or below. Okay, so I got everything that I could get from the Energy Lab here. Now I'm moving over to the Biolab. Now this is the Torrid. It requires MR4. You're going to want to hold on to this weapon whenever you craft it because this is actually one of the best weapons in the game at the minute. Got everything that I could from the Biolab. Now I'm heading over to the Tenolab. As you can see, I still have 500,000 credits here. So here in the Tenolab, I want you guys just to focus on buying the weapons and the Warframe blueprints. Like you can have things here like the Gravimag research. Like we don't need that right now, so don't bother wasting your credits and stuff right now on that there type of stuff. Like that's a very specific thing which we'll need later on. Right now we're just sort of like building up our inventory with a bunch of blueprints and weapons that we can craft, because a very common question that gets asked by newer players is like, you know, what should I go for next? And by just putting all of these blueprints in your foundry so you can come in and look at them, well, you can just make the decision for yourself like what you want to try and craft next, right? And also what this does is whenever you increase your master rank, right? So whenever I go on to master rank 7, I can come back into the Tenno Lab, Energy Lab, Bio Lab, and Chemical Lab, and I can go ahead and just pick up the stuff that I couldn't get on this visit. I'm getting dangerously low here. I'm at 189,000 now. I've almost blown through 1,000,000 credits, basically. Okay, so I was able to pick up basically everything that I kind of needed. I got down to the Arcwing bits, and to be honest, they're not that big of a priority to me right now. Whenever I get a little bit more credits, because you can see I'm all the way down to 4,000 again, I can come back in here and I can, you know, pick up the rest of the Electron stuff and the Itzel stuff. And also the Amisha stuff. For some reason, I thought the Amisha was the default Arcwing, but the Amisha stuff as well. But now, if we come to my foundry and we press on like ready to build, we're going to see that nothing is ready to build because we literally just don't have the resources that we need for all of the stuff that we claimed, right? We need stuff like Field Drawn, the Detonite Injector, and the Mutagen Mass. Now, if you followed what I did, you can go ahead and you can type in like the name of that resource. So you can see Mutagen Mass right here, and you can see that we can craft that for other resources, right? So it's the same with the Detonite Injector. If we go ahead and we type that in, right, Detonite Injector, I can sacrifice this stuff to make a Detonite Injector. And we can also do the Field Drawn sample as well, or just a regular Field Drawn, so that requires Field Drawn samples. So this stuff, it takes 12 hours to build, so you can go ahead and have a Field Drawn, a Detonite Injector, and a Mutagen Mass crafting every single day as well. And then that way you're going to build up those resources so you can craft these weapons from the dojo, right? But the other thing that we need to pay attention to as well is if we come to navigation and we go to the invasions tab, what you can see is you can see these factions are fighting against one another, right? So you have the Invested versus the Corpus. You've got the Corpus versus the Grineer, Invested versus the Corpus again. And basically, if you go ahead and click, so for example, I'm going to click this one here over on Series. I can press on Ludi here and I can press Invasion, and it's going to ask me to pick a side. And what I have to do then is I have to run this mission 3 times. And once I run that mission 3 times, whenever this invasion ends, I'll be rewarded with whatever I go for. So let's say, for example, I want those Detonite Injectors. I go ahead and I side with the Grineer, and it's going to put me into the Grineer side of this mission. So because I sided with the Grineer, I'm in here killing the Corpus. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I played those invasion missions. So if we go ahead and we click one of them now, you can see that in this one in particular, I could only side with the Corpus. So I just played the 3 missions. And now whenever this is ended, you can see here, it says battle pay will be received when the Tessera conflict is resolved. So whenever this ends, you're going to get a message in your inbox and you're going to get the Field Drawn as a reward. It's the same for all of the other invasions. So here's one of the ones that I did where it was Corpus versus Grineer, and I set it with the Grineers. So I did the free, and again, this is going to be paid whenever the conflict is resolved. Another thing that we can check out now that we've completed the War Within quest is if we come to our operator and we press focus, then we go ahead and we press Xeneric, we can actually get abilities for our operator. So the most important ones in the Xeneric tree here are these two here, because these are waybound passives, so we can use these on any of the focus skill trees. And also this ability down here called Wellspring, where you can use your first ability while you're playing as the operator, and it's going to make a well, which is just going to give you energy regen. So go ahead and unlock Energy Pulse, then Wellspring, then Void Siphon and Void's Flow, if you have enough focus, of course. You can also go ahead and unlock Hardened Wellspring as well, because this is going to make it so that the size is bigger and it increases its duration. And you also get a little bit more ability strength, so that's nice too. Then what you want to do is just invest additional focus into each of these abilities to go ahead and rank them up. So I recommend just distributing evenly, so just go one like this, and then just go ahead, press escape, and then press yes, commit changes, and that's going to spend the focus. Okay, now that we've covered a bunch of that stuff, once you complete like all your quests and stuff like that, you're going to eventually get a message from Ortis that says personal quarters segment blueprint. We want to make sure that we get this crafting before we log off for this episode. On top of that, here's all of the rewards for completing the War Within quest. And you can see that I've got this field drawn from completing those invasions as well. I'm actually going to go ahead and do the Chains of Harrow quest in this episode as well. This is quite an easy quest. All you have to do is do the missions over and over and over, and it's heavy story, so just go ahead, start it, and play through the missions. So this is a spooky quest. You're going to come to this bit where it says search the area. You just want to come to these dead bodies here. We want to move into this room up here, and there's writing on the wall that says you cast me out, or you cast him out. Once you've read that thing on the wall, just go ahead, run past all the enemies until you get to this character here, Paladino. And now we just want to go ahead and protect her from the Red Veil guys that are running at us. It's a little bit backwards saying is I am, aligned with the Red Veil, so me killing these guys is kind of awkward, I guess. Just go ahead and keep on throwing your Xoris at them. Once you've killed them all, just go ahead, head to extraction. Next, we want to go to this new area called Iron Wake on Earth to talk to that NPC that we just protected. So once you get here, you got to go into your operator to talk to Paladino. So something annoying about this quest is we actually need to go and get some of the kinetic siphon traps from Samaris. So if you're running low on those, come to the Strata Relay. Go ahead, fast travel to Samaris, then come over to this blue orb over here, and you can buy some of the traps. Just go ahead and buy, I don't know. Bro, I can't even afford them, bro. I'm going to go and get credits. Okay, so I've got my credits, so I can come in here now and finally buy some of the siphon traps. I just bought 2 packs. That was 10,000 credits spent. Now I'm just going to go ahead and continue the quest. So in this mission, we got to follow the voice. So just listen out for the voice in the background. Maybe turn your Spotify down. And yeah, I just run about the place. So eventually, you're going to come across this little thing here. You want to go ahead and just steal it whenever it allows you to. Yoink. Now just go ahead and kill all of the enemies that spawned it. And then just sprint to the exit. So this is the mission where we have to capture one of Rel's manifestations. So we don't kill it. We got to put down a kinetic siphon trap. So gear wheel open. Put down the trap whenever you're next to him. Of course, he had to run away from me. So put down the trap. There you go. And now you deal damage to it. After you captured the first one, another one's going to spawn in. Just do the exact same thing. Stand up beside him. Let the trap capture him. And then just deal damage to him with your Xoris. After you deal enough damage, he's going to fall down. And the siphon trap's going to capture him for you. Captured my third Rel. And this is the end of the mission. Then the next mission, you do the exact same thing. You just got to capture some of Rel's manifestations again. So eventually, you're going to get to this part of the quest where you find this big tree. We go ahead and we fall down this big hole here. And we get to this little temple bit. And you want to stand here and you want to go into your operator. Then you go ahead and you fall down the hole as your operator. You can go in through these little doors. And it's going to take you to this room where you can see the HARROW Warframe all chained up. You want to go ahead and shoot the chains. You want to shoot the ones that are glowing blue first. My operator's too short, so I have to get the right angle and jump the right height to actually hit the chains. The game's just mocking me because they know that I'm short in real life. Finally broke one. Now a bunch of red veil guys are going to spawn in. Just go ahead and dash into them to knock them over. And then zap them with your moat amp. If you shoot the guys with the swords out, they're just going to deflect your shot, basically. So, you know, you just want to knock them down so they're in that animation of getting up so they're easier to kill. After you've killed enough of the enemies, you can go ahead and break some more of the chains. So let's let me break 2 this time. Kill more red veil enemies. Some of them are going to shoot you now, so be careful of that. Also, I think aiming for their head deals more damage. I'm not too sure, though, because I'm testing it out on these guys with the melee weapons. Let's see. 113 on the body, but then 102 on the head, but then he had shields on. I don't know, dude. Just knock them over and zap them. Once you've killed enough, go ahead, break some more chains. The really cool thing about this is that by killing these guys, you're actually getting some levels on your moat amp, so... And eventually, all the chains should be broken and you should be done. And that's you completed the Chains of Harrow quest. After you've completed the Chains of Harrow quest, the next big thing that you have to do is actually craft that personal quarter segment. So if you go ahead and type it in, you can see that it requires Argon Crystal, Tellurium, Ferrite, and Rubido. So you can get the Argon Crystals from the Void and Tellurium from Uranus. The Ferrite and Rubido you should be able to just find pretty much anywhere. It's a pretty common resource. So what I recommend doing is just go ahead and play Star Chart missions in the Void and in Uranus until you get the resources needed, and then just come and craft this thing. And this is just going to allow us to progress the story of Warframe even further. So unfortunately, you have to wait an hour for this to be completed. Personally, I think they should change this to only a minute. But yeah, I have to wait for an hour before I can continue on with the quest. So what I would recommend doing is coming in here and basically just crafting any weapons and Warframe parts that you can. As you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm able to craft right now. I could craft a bunch of Banshee stuff. I could craft a bunch of Zephyr stuff. I could even craft stuff for Nyx. And also I got pretty much all of the stuff from the invasions. You can see the mutagen mask, the detonite injectors. So if there's any new invasions up, you should go ahead and play those so you can get more resources. And also, you should be doing your open world. So go to Cetus and max out your standing here for the day. Go to Fortuna, max out your standing here. And absolutely go to Demos and max out your standing here. So because I have to wait for the personal quarters segment to be completed, I'm going to end this episode here. I'm going to farm some standing and stuff like that. And then we'll talk about what we do after the personal quarters segment is finished crafting in the next episode. So thank you guys for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.